Ladies and gentlemen, I think something is happening.
The Day the Earth Stood Still was a landmark film, in my memory, because it took on the issue of the friendly aliens, I think perhaps for the first time.
I came here to give you these facts.
Coming to Earth to impart wisdom, to express concern about the way this planet was heading and how it might affect other planets.
But if you threaten to extend your violence, this Earth of yours will be reduced to a burned-out cinder.
I remember that film vividly. It was startling to see that spaceship land, the doors magically open, out walks a being, and all the military people with their weapons ready to fire, and all the concern about should we kill him or should we shoot it, and can we destroy it or would it destroy it? What power does it have? I think that was emblematic of the kind of thing that
Towards the end of the Second World War, science fiction had become science fact. Scientists now really did have the technology to overpower life on Earth. An awareness of the devastating impact of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombs began to underpin many of the sci-fi films which followed. Although initially conceived as family entertainment and produced on very limited budgets, the Japanese Godzilla series of films were imbued with images of devastation which originated in real life.
As you know, in Japan, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombs were very much in all our minds, including that of our director Honda and all the others who worked on the script. Then someone thought, what if we give this idea a twist? What if a prehistoric dinosaur egg happened to be exposed to radiation? So we see the egg and see it hatch, but it grows into a dinosaur many times bigger than an ordinary dinosaur.
Godzilla, king of the monsters! Incredible titan of terror!
Up until then, you had never seen that kind of landscape in a film. Hiroshima was completely flattened, and that made a terrible, impressionable landscape. You had not seen anything like it before. So when Mr. Honda made the film, that kind of landscape was obviously in his mind.
Is this the end of our civilization? Can the scientists of the world find a way to stop this creature?
I think what you're seeing in Godzilla is a reflection of the horrible psychic scar left by the nuclear destruction of World War II, symbolized in this mammoth radioactive breath-spewing, creature.
If you want the deep, meaningful analysis of the Godzilla movies, they are the first true eco-sound sci-fi movies. There is always human intervention. The monster sleeping in the murky depths is awoken by the nuclear test, comes to, is neither pro-human nor anti, is this impassive force that has been disturbed by us, can wreak terrible havoc, usually on Tokyo, which they somehow always rebuild in record time, but occasionally doing good for mankind. And usually all the monsters, there are smog monsters, there are things from outer space that have been caused by man's intervention. So this is the big eco message. All of that, of course, is baloney. What's great about the Godzilla movies is indeed, it's a man in a monster suit. It's a man in rubber walking up and down.
Godzilla, king of the monsters. Fantastic beyond comprehension.
The 1950s were a golden age for sci-fi B-movies.
Gee whiz!
Weird science had been born.
Was this a new being created by a miracle of science?
High-tech gadgetry offered a new glimpse of freedom. Medical advances and the race for space exploration were matched by a surge in UFO sightings.
This could be the beginning of the end for the human race.
On the darker side came fear of radiation, human guinea pigs, and mind control.
Weird, fantastic beings of a superintelligence. A strange and evil force.
While ever present in the background was the oppressive and overwhelming shadow of Cold War paranoia.
written in the stars is a message of doom for this, our world.
For those of us sort of born slightly after that time, as I was, it is very hard to project our minds back to the very real sense of imminent death that a lot of people felt hanging over them from the early 50s right the way through to the mid-60s, to realise the horrible possibility of the world being destroyed by nuclear bombs, by the Cuban Missile Crisis, by Russian invasion.
The aliens who populated Don Siegel's Invasion of the Body Snatchers struck a unique terror into its audiences.
It's about these strange things that are drifting in space. Spores was the word they used.
They come from another world, spawned in the light years of space, unleashed to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet.
And these spores drifting through space have the capacity to come down, and whatever they sort of settled near, they had the ability to somehow reproduce that thing. If there's a body there, they'll reproduce that body and somehow invade that body, become that person.
Now an undreamed of horror makes her life and love a vortex of fear.
The striking feature of these pod people that are the threat all throughout that film is that they have no capacity to feel. Not that they don't love, they lack a human quality.
From city to city, an incredible hysterical panic spreads as the unimaginable becomes real.
It's still a terrifying picture because it has nothing to do with monsters. The people become monsters. It's really a metaphor for the whole kind of neurotic, hypnotic, red communist scare that was going on in the 50s.
I'm a witch hunter if the witch is a communist. I'm a red baiter. Make no bones about it whatsoever. I'd like to see them all in Russia.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers basically was saying that no matter what happens, this society is going to get you.
The impossible becomes true.
In the film itself, it's the simple act of just going to sleep, which is a lovely metaphor, of course, for the abdication of personal responsibility towards anything that you feel like you may need to criticize or work against in contemporary culture and society.
Will you tell these fools I'm not crazy? Make them listen to me before it's too late! Listen to me. Please listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
My idea was that this film was against conformity.
It was again this mass conformity that was starting to arise in the 1950s when nobody wanted to make waves, nobody wanted to make ripples, everyone lived in the same tract house, everyone had a cheerful life, everyone had the nuclear family, and Don Siegel was saying, hey, wait a minute, that's not the way things really are, and for God's sakes, that's not the way I want them to be.
Stop and listen to me, listen to me!
When the studio saw the film, they felt it was too dark.
That the picture was intended to go in straight time, beginning with the train station, and no narration, just going straight forward to the end. The ending being Kevin McCarthy on the bridge with the trucks going by and saying, "You're next," big close-up, "You're next," right out to the audience.
They're here already! You're next!
And the studio took the control of the picture away from Siegel and Walter Wanger. They felt it was too downbeat. Siegel didn't want that ending. Those pods want that ending, he would say.
Not all monsters visit us with a political agenda, and if ever there was a reason for staying on Earth, it can be found on the spaceship that Ridley Scott built for his 1979 film Alien. This creature was to haunt a whole generation.
I sat down on Saturday morning, and it took me about 1 hour and 20 minutes to read it. And I knew I was going to do it. But I knew I'd do it in the first read. I just read it and saw it.
Amazing. Alien life form. Looks like it's been dead a long time.
There's a lifetime of movie going and story reading in Alien. And when the picture was fresh and had just been out a short time, a lot of people speculated as to just exactly where I stole it from, with most people concluding that that it was stolen from a movie called It, The Terror from Beyond Space. Truth is, it was stolen from everywhere. It was stolen from the whole world. Every sci-fi picture I'd seen, from Forbidden Planet to The Thing, books on parasitology.
While developing his Alien script, writer Dan O'Bannon also discovered the work of Swiss fantasy artist H.R. Giger, which he introduced to Scott.
I was, stunned. I said, but what's the problem? There it is. And he said, well, Giger would like to design it. I said, there's no design. I said, there it is. That's him. But how would we make it? I said, I don't care. That's it. And I've never been so sure about anything in my life.
Giger's work on the alien monster and spaceship subsequently won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects.
I got a call, to go in and see, meet the director about this science fiction film, and I was given the script. And not having seen the designs, of course, I pictured something much more, routine, like a big blob of yellow jello chasing people. And I thought it was not that great.
I told him, I said, I don't like science fiction pictures and I don't like monster pictures for openers. And I didn't, because they're never believable. So, and really said, oh, well, I don't either, actually. He said, but I think I can make something of this one.
He first showed me these astonishing drawings by Giger that just, were so startling, and I realized I'd never seen anything like this in a movie.
I saw the darkness and the hint of violence, the dark side, but beautifully done. It was seductive.
The undercurrent is always very, very, very sexual. And I thought that was what was great about the Alien, had a very powerful sexuality. It looked to me very specifically, it could have been actually male or female. That's what was interesting, I found.
The actual impregnation itself is done by the thing shoving some kind of an ovipositor down the character's throat. And I wasn't about to have that done to a woman. I wanted my male characters to be threatened. They're the ones, see, it's the men in the audience that sit there and get their sadistic rocks off watching female characters being abused on the screen, and I wasn't about to feed that particular unwholesome appetite. Now, I wanted to go after those very men themselves, and I wanted to make all the men in the audience cross their legs. What could be worse? It comes from inside of you.
We had all read the script, and it said that something jumped out of John Hurt's chest, and his line was, "Oh my goo-ah," that's what it said. But I remember we went downstairs, there were a lot of people on the set, and they were all wearing raincoats, which